The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Ardor SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have a very special guest for you today, all the way from Medford, Oregon, Brian Simmons with EXP. How are you, Brian?
I am doing well. Thank you. Doing real well.
Thanks for being on the program. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to hearing about the Rogue Valley, which I've been through there one time in my life, and driving up to the border, actually going to Safety Harbor up in but in the islands. But I'm really anxious to hear about what's going on up there. But first, I have to ask. I always ask everyone, and I want to hear the whole story. Brian, were you like 5 years old, tugging on your parents' pant leg, saying, "Hey, Dad, Mom, how do I become a realtor?" Or
no.
Hey, nobody.
No, I was not.
One person say yes. I'll tell you that another time.
Yeah.
Or did you fall into it like most of us?
Yeah, so totally. I'll tell you all about that. At first, I have to give you props for doing something that a lot of East Coasters do not, and that is actually saying Oregon correctly. I've heard Oregon and all of the above. So props on that. And then not just that, but you also said Rogue Valley correctly. And a lot of people say Rouge River, Rouge Valley.
Come on.
Yeah, man. It gets butchered.
I don't know
a lot.
People. I don't
Gets
know
butchered a lot. So nice work on that one. Must have done your homework. But yeah, so how I got into real estate, I did not grow up wanting to be a realtor. That's for sure. I always kind of wanted to get into business. Like that was really my main thing, is I wanted to be a business person, and I didn't really have much of an opinion other than that on what specifically I was going to go into business doing. And so I went to University of Oregon and got a degree in business. And throughout that process, I kind of just started to gravitate more towards entrepreneurship and small business, and started to realize that, I don't really think I'm the type of person that wants to be, working for the man and climbing the ladder. My dad did that work for a big, huge company for 30 plus years and climbed the ladder and did really, really well for himself. And so I saw that, what the hard work and success and all that, looked like. But I also saw, some of the, not fun stuff of having to try to get time off and scheduling and all those sorts of things that aren't so fun. So decided that wasn't really something I really wanted to go towards and pursue. And so right out of college, I actually got into property management, worked for a property management company down in Sacramento. And bigger company, managed a 700 and some odd unit complex down there, and just quickly decided that I was not interested in Sacramento and was also not interested in working for a bigger company like that.
You said it, I didn't.
Yeah. Sorry if you're from Sacramento, but you're probably,
right.
Chances are you might feel the same.
Right.
But then there were beautiful parts of Sacramento, don't get me wrong. Like there were really nice parts about it. But overall, just coming from small town Oregon to, the city down there, it was like, nobody wants to make eye contact. You don't ask somebody how they're doing at the grocery store. You certainly don't stop and chit chat. Like it's a whole different world. So anyways, like I was there working for that company, realized like the big company thing's not for me. Again, just kind of validated what I was feeling before. So took advantage of an opportunity to move back home and work for a small business that went under a year later. That was in 2008. So yeah, I graduated in 2007 from college. 2008 was down in Sacramento until that point. And then, so I guess I left that other company in 2009, right about 2009, about a week before I bought my first house, or week after, I should say.
Right.
So great timing. Yeah. So anyways, like this is a super long-winded answer, but we're getting to how I got to real estate soon. But I got to from there into an IT business. One of my friends, he was like, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to kind of run the business side of things. Would you be interested in trying it out?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, I'm happy to." So did that for a few years and then bought into it and became a partner. And we grew it from, I don't know, 4 or 5 people when I started there to almost right about 30 in about 8, 9 years. And then ultimately just decided that I needed to do something where I could be the one calling all the shots and
Right.
knowing that, the success was either because of me or not. Right. And I think
Right.
that there's something there that I just that just clicked one day that was like, I have to know what I can do, and I have to know what I'm capable of. And that it's funny that the timing of this whole podcast and the question, because I was just talking with a bunch of my friends last night about your why,
Yeah.
right? And my why is what got me into real estate. And I left that company and sold my part back to my partner because I realized that my why is that I need to know my potential. I have to know it. I can't just think about whether or not, what I could be, what I might be.
Is this it? It's like that.
Is this it? Are we this successful because
Yeah.
my partner's calling all the shots? Am I holding it back? You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I don't know. And I didn't know for sure. So I had to know. So a week before our first child was born was my last day at that company. And so, yeah, so
Wow.
crazy timing.
I better get to work.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, well, I guess it's time. And the
Yeah.
thing that I kept really thinking about was like, what, you're in kind of in a whole emotional like space with your first kid coming and all this stuff. And I was like, I just have to like try to think of what example I want to set and what would I want him to do. It's like you take the risk, right? You have to
Right.
you have to know, you have to have the confidence in yourself. So I didn't intend to get into real estate specifically. I intended to take some of the money from selling the part of the company and get into flipping houses. And that's what I wanted to do. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well get my real estate license so I can find the deals and have access to the MLS and all this sort of stuff. So I got my license. And then I started looking at houses to flip. And I quickly realized that I don't know anything about evaluating, what's a good house, what's behind that wall, whatever, and I was like, this is stupid to risk my own money like that. So got with a partner, started doing some new construction, which was much less risky, and started to close some transactions on the real estate side of things, and pretty quickly realized like there was a lot of fun. Like I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the flexibility and the, communicating with people and interacting with them and seeing properties and not being in the office. That was like such a huge difference from what I did the almost a decade prior. So it was such a different experience. I just loved it and did like around 10 transactions, I think, my first year. And then I moved to EXP and did 32 my next year.
Nice.
And was an icon agent and have been kind of slowly like creeping up every year since then. That's how I got into it. So
that's awesome. No,
it's
that's
been
a
fun.
great story, man. And I love those what I call well-traveled stories. I do that intro of, hey, when you're 5 years old, and
Yeah.
like I said, one person out of 300 said, yeah, I always wanted to be a realtor. And my parents were realtors and they brought me in. But hearing those well-traveled stories of, like I was a mouse chasing cheese,
Yeah.
and eventually I said, I got to get out of the maze, right? I mean, that's ultimately what you want. You don't want to be in the maze chasing whatever. And that why moment where you're like, why am I doing any of this? What's my why? And you go, oh, wait a minute. I need to know about me.
Yeah. Well, and it starts to, make a lot of things click, and I was like, well, I feel like I was comfortable in that place. And I think I'm uncomfortable feeling comfortable, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like it feels stagnant to me and it feels lazy. It feels like I'm not being challenged. And so if I start to feel comfortable, I have to like do something to essentially like put myself back in the corner. Like I bought my truck. What, as things started to go well in real estate, I was like, I need something. So I bought a truck and had to paint it. And then it's like, now I kind of back against the wall a little bit and then bought a new house and then bought, and it was like something to just kind of keep that drive going and keep you like backed in so that I wasn't comfortable. And
I agree.
yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people, and I'm one of those. I'm actually just like you when it comes to that. It's funny. It's a bad analogy. I'm not Conor McGregor at all, but Conor McGregor says he buys the things he buys to go broke. To push him to go to
Yeah.
the next level and do something else other than rest on his laurels. Because when you
Mhm.
rest on your laurels, it's over.
Yeah,
The
totally.
game's over.
Totally.
It's
And it's
over.
such I know it's a weird way of looking at it. It's kind of like counterintuitive to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people like seek out that comfort. That's kind
Oh
of viewed
yeah,
as like that's what you want. Like you want that cush, 9 to 5 job with the corner
right,
office where like what your pay is, your pension, you got your 2 weeks off. And it's like I don't want that crap. Like I want
no,
the control to
right,
know that like if I want to go spend half the day with my kids, like I can go do it. I don't have to
right,
ask anybody. You know what I mean? Like I want that, and I want the accountability to know that if I'm killing it, like that's because I'm killing it. If
right,
I'm not killing it, like that's because I'm not killing it.
right.
And I'm okay with that
That's
accountability.
true. And not everybody's wired that way. I mean, it's actually a
Yeah,
very small percentage, and that's why
it is.
there is icon status and things like that, is because we want to reward and acknowledge those people. But the reality is, I saw this on another podcast, a very well-known podcast, and the guy's on there and he's like, look, most Americans don't want a lot of money. Most Americans don't want to build things and move forward. Most Americans, because of our way of life, and it's true, I'm okay with
Mhm.
saying this. I don't think anybody's going to be offended. But the reality is they just want to have a easygoing life and eat pizza and go boating on the weekends and have a
Yep.
family and just kick it. And then there's that smaller percentage, and it's not the top 1% because sometimes those people are freaks, when it
Oh
comes to
yeah.
this business, but it's that 20%, that 80-20
Mhm.
rule, or whatever, especially in real estate, right?
Mhm.
20% of the agents create 80% of the commission.
Mhm.
The reality is there's that 20% that do want to keep achieving and keep moving forward because they want, if I want comfort, I have it. And if I want to build a bigger stake, I have that too.
Yeah,
Whereas majority of
exactly.
people just want comfort. They just want to be like,
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, they want to just, yep, exactly, be comfortable. And I heard a quote, I read it long, long, long time ago, like early in my career, and it just has stuck with me for the whole time. And it said, spend a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't.
right.
And
That's
that
great.
was it, just totally like aha moment. I was like, damn, that makes so much sense. I'm gonna do
Right.
that.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that on your podcast, on your title of your podcast. People will love it.
Perfect.
People will love it. So let's hear about Rogue Valley. Let's hear about the area
Yeah.
you work in, and enlighten us on the area that you work and love.
Yeah, so I grew up here in Southern Oregon, and so that's what we kind of call the Rogue Valley, Southern Oregon. It's just the whole area of Jackson and Josephine counties, basically just north of the California border, and it's gorgeous. I mean, I love it here. It's one of the places where there's about 300,000 people here. Between the two counties, and it's known for having really amazing climate and just a lot of really good like outdoor recreational type stuff: rafting, fishing, hunting, hiking, boating. There's really incredible wineries, there's good golf, all that type of stuff. So it's like if you are an outdoors person, this is a great spot to be. And that's what I am. And so
Yeah.
so I love it. I mean, we get to go do all sorts of fun stuff, and our climate's great. So the weather's good most of the year. Outside today, it's beautiful for a change, actually, somehow. But
You're like, wait, what happened? It's not supposed to be
yeah,
like this in January.
it
Yeah.
was snowing a little bit yesterday. So
Oh wow.
and now it's like you can probably wear a t-shirt outside. But the area here, I mean, it's really neat. And I'm fortunate enough to have been raised here. And so my sphere of influence is here. And that's kind of transitioned, well for a realtor. That helps a lot. But if you're not familiar at all with the area here, I mean, we're a couple hours away from, probably a few hours away to the coast, a few hours away to Bend, Oregon, a
Yeah.
few hours away to Eugene. It's really like there's all these other areas that are just all a few hours away. and you can, make a nice quick weekend trip to go watch the
Nice.
Ducks play, or over to the coast and go to the beach, or whatever. So it's a really nice area for that. And that's why we get a lot of people moving into this area, from places like California and Washington, and I've had them from all over.
Right.
But they come here because we're one of the few spots, if you really think about it, on the West Coast where you have, good climate, right? Because you got to rule out Portland and Seattle and kind of that whole northern part of the Pacific Northwest because of the rain. So if you want like good climate, like you kind of have to be south of that. And if you want to be where a lot of people want to be, out of California, you kind of like narrow yourself down to a pretty small area. And that's where we're at, right in the middle of it.
Right here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as people start really evaluating, like, hey, like we want to go, we want to move back to the West Coast or whatever to be closer to family, but we hate the rain of Portland and Seattle, and we don't want to be priced out like crazy like Bend, Oregon is, which is
Right.
an incredible area, but it's just so expensive. We kind of end up being high on the list by process of elimination because we're not California and we don't get a lot of rain and our prices are decent.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's the best part. Prices are decent. So let me ask you this last question, really, about the real estate part of it. So you're a solopreneur, correct?
Mhm.
Solo. So tell me
Well,
about
kind of.
scaling that, as a solopreneur. Now, maybe in your area, I mean, is that the, I guess, more about the why, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like, is that the long-term plan, or I guess what is the 1, 3, 5 year and working
Yeah.
solo like that? What's the plan?
Yeah. So I'm a solo with an asterisk. I operate as a solo agent. I don't have like a buyer's agent or a showing assistant or anything like that on my team.
Right.
I scale because I have a transaction coordinator who is amazing that I utilize. I also have an assistant, who is like a VA, like ISA type of an assistant, who does a lot of my like database management type of stuff, and that helps me to be able to scale. But I also do have a team, and my team is more of a mentor mentee style than it is a traditional like buyer's agent, seller's
Right.
agent, that type of a thing. So my team members aren't even here in Oregon. They're they're over on the East Coast and
Gotcha.
kind of scattered around. And that's just something that is doable because of the model that we have here at EXP that
Yeah,
allows
for
us to
sure.
do that. So it's kind of a unique thing where I'm able to utilize my team to help grow, my own organization within EXP and help those folks build their businesses, and do that across the country. It's really a pretty unique and pretty successful model. So the projection, the plan for the next, 1 to 3 to 5 years is continue to do that. It's just continue to scale the thing how I have been, continue to grow that team, help those teams, help those folks grow their own teams, and build and build and build, without ever actually building my own production team, if that makes sense.
Nice. Yeah,
So
I totally get it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. EXP's model really works for that as well.
yeah, and that was one of my like my one requirements when I left the IT businesses. I was like, I will never ever have another employee. Like
Right.
that was my
None
that
of
was my
that
one
now.
thing. And it wasn't because, I mean, I had great relationships with the majority of my employees. Like they were awesome, but it was just that once you cross that path, and you cross over that line to like, now you have employees, you now become a manager. And at
Right.
that point, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. If you're managing a doctor's office or a real estate business or an IT business, it's the same job.
Yeah. Management of people is
Ex-
management of people, whether no
Yeah,
matter what it is, right?
exactly. And I didn't want to do that again. So here we are.
Perfect. Well, sounds like it's worked out pretty well for you. So
It's been fun. Yeah.
yeah. So how would someone get in touch with you, Brian? Whether they wanted to buy, list, or maybe they wanted to be one of those agents out here in West Palm or something, how would they get in touch with
Yeah. So a couple ways. I mean, if you are, someone's looking to buy or sell or do, real estate, like that type of stuff, My website, buyingsouthernoregon.com, is a great place to start. All my information's on there. Call me, text me. My phone number's on there. That's a great place to start. Or if you're an agent that wants to, know more about my team and that model and how it's different than traditional teams, which is it's significantly different than a traditional real estate team, in that I help you build your own business, not my business. I help you build your own brand, not my brand. I'm nowhere. Like, that's why I call the team the silent real estate team, because I'm
Nice.
completely silent in the background. It's just me helping you.
Right.
Right. So if somebody's interested in that, you can just set up some time for us to chat. Go to partnerwithbriansimmons.com, and that'll send you to a Calendly link, and you can set up 30 minutes for us to just meet each other and chat and
That's
see if
fantastic.
we can make some sense of it for you.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Brian, thanks so much for being on the program. I really appreciate it. I look forward to catching up with you like over the next 3, 6, 9 months, see how things are going. And have a great weekend, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy some of that beautiful landscape out there and that beautiful weather.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite and having me on here. It was great chatting with you, and thank you all for listening.
All right, Brian. We'll see you. Have a good one.
Take care. Thanks.